All right, so let's start with the big story that we are tracking on WION at this hour. There is political turmoil in different parts of the world, and now this wave has reached the Iraqi parliament, where thousands of supporters of the powerful Iraqi cleric, Al-Sadr, have once again stormed the parliament. Now, these are the visuals of the protesters inside of the parliament, dancing, raising slogans, and also carrying pictures of Al-Sadr. The protesters who've stormed inside the parliament in Baghdad have said that they will not leave the parliament till their demands are met. The principal demand being that they want another person to be nominated for the post of the Prime Minister. The protesters waved the Iraqi flag and also held up portraits of Al-Sadr. The protesters breached the parliament in a show of support for the influential cleric leader. And all of this has come just days after they stormed the legislative body and also suspended a session to nominate a new Prime Minister. Now, Al-Sadr's party, remember, emerged as the biggest parliamentary faction in the elections that were held in October last year, but it was still short of a majority. And 10 months on, a political stalemate still persists over the establishment of a new government. Supporters of the Shiite cleric opposed the recently announced candidacy of Mohammed al-Sudani, a former minister and also an ex-provincial governor who is the pro-Iran coordination framework's pick for the premiership. On Wednesday, Sadr supporters breached the green zone despite the bombardment of tear gas fire from the police. They occupied the parliament building, they sang, they danced and also took selfies before leaving 2 hours later after orders from Al-Sadr. The security forces shut off the roads in the capital leading to the green zone with massive blocks of concrete, but the blocks of concrete were not enough to stop their displeasure towards the authorities. Now, the post of the Prime Minister goes to the leader from Iraq's Shiite majority. Al-Sadr, a former militia leader, had initially supported the idea of a majority government that would have seen his Shiite adversaries from the pro-Iran coordination framework sit in the opposition. But last month, Sadr's 73 lawmakers quit in a move that is being seen as seeking to pressurize his rivals to fast-track the establishment of a government. 64 new lawmakers were sworn in late in the month of June, making the pro-Iran bloc the largest one in the parliament. Now, to give us more insights in terms of what's actually happening in Iraq at this point of time and what is the reason for this political instability in the country, we're being joined in by journalist Sardar Sattar, who's joining us live from Erbil at this point of time. Mr. Sattar, this of course is a pretty difficult time for the people in Iraq. We saw what's been happening inside of the parliament where the supporters of Al-Sadr stormed the Iraqi parliament. Tell us more as to what's been happening there.
Early in the morning, we saw that thousands of Iraqi protesters, mainly the supporters of Shia cleric Al-Sadr, one of the once believed to be the kingmaker of Iraq, pushed towards the fortified green zone in Baghdad. By the way, fortified green zone in Baghdad is where the top government institutions are located, and there are also several Western embassies. So they pushed into the green zone, and then after very brief confrontations with the security forces, they finally reached the building of the parliament, and they easily moved into the building. This actually has, according to the latest of this, and a statement from the Speaker of the Parliament, has forced the Parliament to suspend all the parliamentary sessions until further notice.
And also at this point of time, Mr. Sattar, what is the demand of these protesters? Because quite clearly that the faction that they represent, the Al-Sadr's party, it hasn't got the majority in the parliament. It may be the single largest party in the parliament, but it hasn't got its way across the halfway mark. So how is it that they intend to form a government?
We have to, before discussing this, we have to understand that the Constitution of Iraq has made it clear that the majority in the parliament, which is allowed to form the new government, is 2/3 of the government. 2/3 to meet the quorum to hold the special session for election of the prime minister, and then a 2/3 vote for the prime minister to be allowed to form the government. Muqtada al-Sadr previously held 73 seats at the parliament. He formed an alliance with the KDP, the winner of the Kurdistan region, the Kurdistan Democratic Party in the Kurdistan region, and the biggest faction of the Iraqi Sunnis. He did not make the majority of the parliament, but he was very close.
Right.
The problem was at the time. The problem was that the coordination framework, which consists the pro-Iran Shia factions, the rivals of Muqtada al-Sadr, blocked his attempts 3 times from forming the government. So at this time, they are pushing to. This is kind of like. Fighting back. They were blocked at once, and they are blocking the attempts of the coalition framework from preventing them from forming the new government.
Now, Mr. Sadr, we're short of time, so I want to ask you this. For people who are looking at this story unfold in Baghdad at this point of time, elections happened in October last year. A government has not been formed even till the end of July now, and we see these protests where the protesters have stormed and taken over the parliament. How long do you think this political instability will continue in Iraq?
Everyone has been calling for a national dialogue between these two factions. Unless there is a dialogue and there is an agreement between them, we are going to see this turmoil to continue for quite a while, actually. And until there is no agreement between these main actors, we are not going to see a new government being formed.
All right. Thank you very much indeed, Mr. Sattar, for joining us and getting us all those insights there in terms of what's been happening in Baghdad since this morning.
Thank you.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.